right, welcome to the Agenda on Dominion Broadcast Group, where we delve into the polity of the Nigerian state as it concerns you. I am Chike Obogu. On the agenda today, the Crude Oil Refinery Owners Association of Nigeria has indicated that fuel importers might soon be out of business if they overlook the growing trend towards domestic refining. The Publicity Secretary of Koran, Eche Idoko, mentioned this following the federal government's decision to reinstate the Naira for Crude agreement, despite opposition from major importers. Idoko noted that the resistance is primarily from depot owners benefiting from fuel imports. He compared them to water vendors worried about losing clientele once efficient pipelines are operational. Reports also indicate that fuel importers faced losses of up to 76.5 billion naira in March due to price reductions by Dangote Refinery. The marketers stated that they had to sell at a loss as consumers opted for more affordable fuel options. The Depot and Petroleum Products Marketers Association of Nigeria, DAPMAN, has expressed its opposition to the policy of trading crude oil for naira, stating that it is adversely affecting foreign exchange revenue and deters potential investors. The secretary of DAPMAN, Olufemi Adewale, emphasized that crude oil transactions should be conducted in dollars to be consistent with international market prices. Well, we'll be looking at the bigger picture this morning, and then looking at refining revolution for Nigeria. The stakes are also high, but so are the opportunities. If the local refining revolution succeeds, it could lead to self-sufficiency in fuel production. It will stabilize pump prices, create jobs, and reduce the country's reliance on costly imports. Well, the transformation is already on the way. The question I'll ask is, will fuel importers adapt in time or be swept away by the wave of change? Joining me in this discussion is a public affairs analyst and also a development researcher, John Izuchukwu. John, good morning. It's good to have you on the agenda this morning.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Well, we're talking now, fuel importers. Well, the importers are crying, they're moaning as we speak. Should they not be happy that we're having local refining other than having imports in the country, considering the state of the naira at the moment?
Yes, nobody goes into business with the intention not to make profit. And so they are business people. They should be worried that the major channel for which they make their money is about being taken away or almost being taken away. We should also, thank the government for that policy, the Naira for Crude policy. It seems is something that is going to, in a way, begin to alleviate the pain, that the subsidy removal had brought on Nigerians. But the crux of this discussion is the fact that how long are we going to continue to, depend on bringing in fuel into Nigeria? It's sad that a fuel refined in Brazil and brought into Nigeria is far more cheaper than the one refined in Nigeria. So those are the dynamics, and you're wondering, why is it so?
Are there shady deals in the oil sector?
No. Of course, the oil sector is manned by strong men in Nigeria, and it's not hidden, because it doesn't make sense for me to look at the fact that Dangote Refinery in Ibejuleki here in Nigeria refines crude oil in Nigeria, and it's expensive than the one brought into Nigeria. It's not logical. The only logical sense there is that he had factored in the chain of persons, individuals and companies and people in government and out of government who are going to benefit from that chain of production. And so Nigerians are the one paying, the benefit that are supposed to go to these individuals. And they are not hidden. The government is aware, the government knows them, and I think that this Naira for Crude seems as if it's going to destabilize certain forces. And of course, we hope that in the coming days, more responsible decisions will be taken on strengthen our own refineries. Of course, we know that as we speak, the modular refineries are not built to refine oil in a large capacity. They are there supposedly to be, makeshift arrangement. And so any serious government should be thinking of, bringing in our own refinery. You have one refinery today in Nigeria that is owned by Nigeria. There is still going to be monopoly. So there's nothing you can do about it.
Okay, so for me, the Naira for crude, it's not a bad idea. It's a very good one.
It's a welcome development.
However, how sustainable is it, considering the forces behind the oil business in Nigeria, especially the downstream oil petroleum sector?
You see, there's a saying by the elders: government, Ijoba Amunimogu. The meaning is that for those who don't don't understand local language.
Yeah.
The next to God's power on earth is government.
Okay. After God.
After God is government.
Okay.
So if government says this is the way to go,
okay,
nobody changes it. And that's why we're saying we need more strong government with strong political will to bring in policies that will benefit the ordinary Nigerian. So those are the issues. So you are saying that it's not benefiting you as expected. But if Nigerians are getting something out of it, as of today, somebody can buy fuel for 880 in some areas and some more than that. It's far better than when you are buying for 1,000 naira. And we're hoping that one day it will get better. Because this quagmire we find ourselves will not change overnight. A lot has to be done to get things back to normalcy.
Well, the reintroduction of the Naira for crude policy has already had visible effects. The Dangote Refinery, which began receiving crude in Naira, slashed the price of petroleum from 1,100 Naira to 860 Naira per litre, offering much needed relief to Nigerians. With global crude prices falling, petrol prices were poised to drop even further until the Naira for crude deal was briefly halted. Well, this is Koran quoting the price war, talking about the price war. Yes, it is good to have crude sold in Naira. However, are you still going to sell? Because Nigeria still exports crude. Is Nigeria going to sell to the foreign buyers also in Naira? Will they source for Naira to buy the crude? Or is it only for the local market?
You see, the idea is to boost local refinery, is to strengthen local production. It's the
Is that not some form of monopoly, especially when you look at the Dangote Refinery alone?
No, you see, that's also why we're believing, hoping that this present government will be able to bring in, other refineries.
And if it doesn't happen,
since the market is now deregulated,
if it doesn't happen,
players can come in.
If it doesn't happen, will this Naira for crude be sustainable?
It's also the reason why Nigerians are saying we don't even understand the whole issues around the Dangote Refinery, because it looks as if the closer you look, the lesser you see in this whole scenario.
It's becoming an abacabra kind of thing.
We are not understanding it.
Okay.
But in all sincerity, the crude for Naira for crude policy is still some form of welfareism, program. It could reach because we all know that the subsidy had a great toll on most Nigerians.
Okay, John, a quick one. If you consider the value of the Naira today, would you, as a businessman, want to buy your crude in Naira, or would you prefer to buy it in dollars?
I'm not into it.
I'm just putting you on the spot. If you were a businessman in the oil sector, would you prefer to buy your crude in Naira or in dollars, considering the value of the Naira today?
If there is a government policy that mandate we should buy crude and refine in and sell in Naira, and because the government want to get down to the ordinary Nigerians, these guys are making money in spite of this. It's just that the margin may not be as much as it used to be. So why not put your country first? The country is already in a huge economic woe, and somebody or a group of persons want to continue to rip off the country, as it used to be. Sometimes you need to bring a human face into everything, because these are human beings. Nigerians are lamenting. You don't know what the cost of bringing Gari from Oyo to Ibadan. It has changed. It has tripled. And that's why today, even if you earn 100,000, I saw a statistic the other day, over 76% of Nigerians who are working all their money goes into food. That's just food. So you are talking of transportation. So it means you are not going to pay your children's school fees. So what it means is that we have been thrown into a higher dimension of multi-dimensional poverty by this subsidy remover. And if the government is saying, let's cushion it a little by this policy, I think any right-thinking person should embrace it and allow it to run, and let's see how sustainable it's going to be.
Well, nobody in his right-thinking state would oppose this. However, putting you on the spot, and I come again, if you were a businessman, would you buy your crude in naira or in dollar, considering the value of the naira today?
No. Well, you see, I've said that I'm a law-abiding citizen.
I know you're trying to be very diplomatic about this.
No,
but outside the government policy,
but you see,
outside government policy, would you prefer to buy your crude in naira or in dollar, considering the value of the naira?
Yes, you see, we must always remember that we have only one country called Nigeria. If Nigeria goes down, we all go down. And that's the reason why I believe as a personal principle that whatever we do, that we advance the cause of our country. It doesn't matter how much you benefit or you don't benefit from it. It's necessary that we do it. If I were to be in that shoe and the government had made this policy, I will abide by it. I know they are going to make a lot of money. It may not just be as humongous as they expect. But still going to make money. A huge. You see, the crude oil business is a lot of money. I have an idea of what goes on there, and we know a cent in 2,000 or 2 million barrels is a lot. So 2 naira from 5 million barrels they know they are making a lot of money from it. But again, you also look at the sincerity of government, which is why we are saying if government is sincere, it will provoke and inspire patriotism. It will inspire people wanting to make sacrifices for their country.
Is government sincere at this time?
Well, all over the world, government has different levels of shenanigans. There is nothing you can do about it, because politics itself is about who gets what, when, and how.
Is your government sincere?
Well, maybe the spokesperson of the government will answer that. But as another Nigerian,
yes.
I don't think the government is sincere.
You don't think so?
I don't think, not just Nigerian government all over the world.
Is the Nigerian government sincere as an ordinary Nigerian?
Maybe not. But let's hope that one day we'll have a government that will be sincere.
All right, we'll go on this break.